Well, today's Friday. Hope you have a good weekend coming up. Boy, it rained pretty hard last night. Sure made some of my bones ache. But, oh well, it's a lot better today and I feel fine. So, as you know, I do follow Two Peas in the Pod on a regular basis, and found out Mr. John Cook had 2 charges dismissed. One about the pointing the weapon at someone, and also improper touching of somebody, I guess, or something of that. I think it was an accusation by somebody else. And anyway, it no longer is. It was dismissed in court. Okay. The one I seen on there was lack of evidence, and I'm sure the other one probably is as well. But to find out the real story, go over there and look at the live today on Two Peas or Two Lees. Excuse me, Lisa, I didn't mean to say that. Two Lees in a Pod, and they went live earlier today. I missed part of it. I had an appointment to take care of, and I'm back from that and raring to go. I started yesterday on explaining a little bit about a narcissist, and there's basically 4 types, but I got an idea that the one we've been dealing with lately could comprise all 4. The tendencies on here, it's unreal how many of these tendencies this particular person has. But regardless of that, I'm just going over what my opinion is, and I actually did go mainly with Dr. Phil on this, but I also used somebody else as well. Oh, let's see. Under the Stoic Journal, I did go under there and I wanted to look and see what was going on here. And they correlate each other, even though, like I say, I looked at 2 different sources of information. And I feel, most of the time, I think a lot of times Dr. Phil does things for, well, we know he makes a living off from telling you how to solve the ills of the world and of each individual person. I take a lot of what he says with a grain of salt sometimes. But when he does research something or get it out between him and people that work for him, they're very accurate. It would be as good as going to taking a college course. And if you listen to short versions, and that's what he gives, they're usually to the point and very accurate. And although they won't go into the real fine points, so that you can distinguish or nail it down tighter as to what made a person the way they are, or how to cure it, or what to expect in the future from these people. And there's a lot of things involved, including medications and stuff. But in this case, everybody seems to be pretty much in agreement, and that is get as far away from these people as you can. There's not a lot you can do. They said, don't be beat up on yourself that you weren't able to make a difference in this person's life, this narcissist. They're not very open to change. Main thing is that they know more than you do in their mind, and they are better than you in their mind. They're actually better than anybody they associate with. They make their own rules. They have their own standards that they go by, and they're very good at blaming you for their problems. Okay, the narcissist has all the tools of armament there are, not only to defend themselves, but and protect of themselves, but attack as well. There are some out there that are really the bad people, and they will use any means to attack something that gets in their way, including making sure you reach your last breath. So these things are all in that realm of dealing with the narcissist. And hopefully, maybe you can see a little difference in them to understand who you're dealing with when you feel that you're being overwhelmed with a personality that puts you down and doesn't allow a smidgen of defamation to fall on their shoulders, that it's all your fault. So, and we all know people that are similar to this, either in your workplace, I mean. Could have been from school from years ago. If you run into them in school, I guarantee you as an adult they become better equipped at being a full-blown narcissist, because it's something that they purposely grow. Okay. So let's go over this. We have the some of them are very, very arrogant. Now, we meet a lot of people in life that are arrogant. They're better than anybody else. Rules don't apply to them, and they also have the tendency to have some bullying when they can get away with it. They will pick on the underdog, whereas other people have been taught to help the underdog. They will do the opposite. They do not help the underdog. They point the finger at opposition, blame, and they're never at fault. Have you know anybody like that? Could possibly be that they're a narcissist. And obviously, I'm giving you an opinion, even though I've researched it somewhat. These are things that you have to take and learn for yourself. I mean, everybody, as you get older, you run across all these different personalities. And it takes more than just one of these things before you can determine whether they're a narcissist. They will not be upstaged. They do not like somebody else getting all the attention. It really upsets them. Their ego is too big for them to accept that. And this could pertain to a lot of people. I'm sure you've met all the kinds of them out there. Depending on your age, you see more and more as you get older, because they perfect their skills and they become more dominant. They feel grandeur. They think they're the best thing that ever happened. They're God's gift to women, to mankind, to the workforce, to politics. If they're in Hollywood, to being an actor. You know, Hollywood probably is full of these people. Things that people strive to be because they want that attention. They have to have it. And they get this view of themselves that is way outside of the realm, much more than what anybody else would see them. They see themselves as much bigger than that. And they do anything they can to impress you. Yeah, one of the notes I put down here was they think they're hot stuff. How many people, men and women both, think they're just the hottest thing going? They also think you are nothing more than a tool. You are somebody to be used in some manner of speaking. And the people that are around them, if you look around, you can kind of see how they've treated others. And some of it, you see a trail behind them of devastation of people all over the place. And you'll hear them talk about how bad this one or that one was, and you no longer associate with people like that or their kind. And yet, when they take on different people, they take on people with bad personalities sometimes or whatever. But the day comes where they'll use that trait and dismiss them and get them away from them. and they'll act as if they didn't know that that person was that way in the first place. In other words, there was no blame on them. It was that other person's fault, and they were taken in. They were fooled, if you will, and they're very seldom fooled. I'm going to tell you right now, they're always looking for that person that they can control. They want subordinates, and if you're not, you're history very quickly. Okay. Let's see. One of the other things, too, is no matter where they're at, they're the center of the world. They are it. Have you ever met somebody like that? The entitlement that they have is, let's say that they appear before a judge and things don't go quite right. That judge was the person that was wrong. And they'll point out all the things they can find and do whatever they can to tell you how bad this person was and what the things were. They'll break it down any way they can to give you their version of that person that stepped on their toes. Does that sound familiar? Oh, let's see. Oh, the rights. The rights. They're always right, no matter what. And they will turn it so that they're right. If you even think about criticism of any kind, before you walk away, they will have turned that criticism back on you. They spin it so that you are the one that needed help, not them. You did. And that you had the audacity to even point something like that out. Don't you know that it was them that was perfect and you were unperfect? You had no right to criticize them in any way, shape, or form. Yes, that's the mentality of one of these narcissists. It's their word that counts, their world. It revolves around them. They are the center of the earth, the planet. Where have you heard that before about the planet? Oh, well. They need the adoration. They look for it wherever they go. I could give you some examples, and maybe I will at the end of this thing, of different traits and where we can compare it to actualities of people in the that we've recently either read about or been around. How about that? Let's try that. Okay, one thing I will tell you. These people, because of how they feel about themselves, if they get upstaged for any reason, they're going to look at the person that did that and they're going to come under their scrutiny. And it won't be long before that person is going to feel the heat in some way or another. It'll either be some kind of a little talk. It'll be a little nipping at things here and there about their inability to perform different tasks for them. And it'll graduate into bigger and better things. The closer you are to this person, the more apt you are to come under the scrutiny of this. And if you're one of those people that have a natural charisma about you, they're going to work on you until they can strip you of that charisma in any way it takes, even if they have to destroy your personality. But more than likely, they're going to strip your reputation, and they will start demeaning you in front of others. In small ways at first, but it will grow. And it's up to you to decide what day it's going to be that you walk away from this and save what little you have left of your integrity. Because the longer you're around this person, the less you are going to leave with any integrity, if any at all. Now, if you make the mistake of letting them in on some of your closest mistakes, you will not stand a chance against this person, Because once they have your Hercules heel, you will do their bidding or you're going to pay the price. So keep your personal things, the skeletons, to yourself. Don't let them out. Don't hint. Stay away from this person. As you know, I took notes as I was listening. A long time ago, I learned that even though my memory might be fair, notes are much better because you can refer back to them and it'll let you go back to where you found the information. Okay. Let's see. Up. Got to go to another page. Don't worry, it's not too long. I'm not going to bore you too bad. Lack of empathy. And I told you a little bit about that yesterday. That's probably one of the main things, no matter what type of a narcissist you run across. Now, I want to tell you, there's a person over there that seems to carry almost everything about the 4 different types of narcissist. That surprised me too, because that means they've been working on it a long time. So I suspect it would go back to when they were a lot younger. And there may be some people in the background that could shed light on it. If you notice, a lot of times they cut all ties to people that they've just said goodbye. Which is another thing. If you're close to this person, chances are they're going to want you to, you're going to have to rely on them for everything. And that includes somebody to confide in, to be around, to party with, advise. All that stuff will come from your Lord and Master, who is this narcissist who is taking over your life. And that is what their sole goal is, to bring you in under their wing so that you can, well, you won't need to fly anymore, will you? They are going to use you till you can't be used. And I want to tell you something. If you look around and you look from high to low, the length of time of the people around this person, what's the longest they've been around? And they're always gaining somebody new that they want to bring into the fold. And as they bring in new people, other people go down the road. It's kind of like a coach in a football team. They're always changing players, aren't they? That reminds me one time. I had applied for a job, and it was a good job, and well paid, all kinds of promises. And the guy made one mistake. He said, and this guy was very well educated. Matter of fact, he got through college because he was a good football player. And he told me, he said he uses the strategy to keep his end of the company going, the strategy of when he went through college, of how to manage his team. Everybody was part of his team. And he said, I keep the best and I get rid of the rest. And he said, I clean house every once in a while on going through it. Everybody has to keep up. And this was on I think a Thursday, or it was almost to the end of the week. And he said, well, what do you think? And he laid this offer out there. And I said, well, I think I would like to wait till Monday. I'm going to go home. I'm going to talk this stuff over with my wife. And but I'll get back with you on Monday. So come Monday, I went in there to his office and sat down with him. He shook my hands. He said, well, welcome to the group. And I said, whoa, I haven't taken the job. And he said, well, wait a minute. He said, we got a new truck out there for you. He said, I've got a crew waiting for you, and I have a schedule set up for you. And I'm looking at him like, you got to be kidding me. I said, look, I told you I was going to go home, and I was going to think this over and talk it with my wife. And he said, well, I just assumed you were taking the job. You came in here this morning. And I said, I came in here to tell you that I wasn't going to take the job. Boy, was he pissed. And boy, was I glad I didn't get a job with him. Now, he was a pretty good-sized guy. He was a football player, and he was still in good shape. I mean, he a very aggressive person, but he had this personality that, to me, it seemed like he had a lot of these traits of narcissistic traits. And I'm glad I walked away from that one. He was so mad you could feel the heat coming off from him. And on home I went, and that ended that. And later on, I had to do some business with his company. And it really wasn't his company, but anyway, he wasn't there. I guess whoever was above him cleaned house one day, and he was one of them that got cleaned out. And this was a couple of years after I'd interviewed for the job that was being offered, by the way. So sometimes what goes around comes around. You never know. Now, I don't know if he got fired or left or went on his own either. I'm just assuming that it bit him. Maybe it was I wanted it that way. I don't know. We all have a little bit of get even stuff in our mentality. There is some that weaponize. And what I'm saying about that is, let's say you have somebody comes along and through their influence they can make you bend to their will in some way. Or they will attack you just to be able to attack you. There are people out there that love to attack other people. And the weaker they are, the harder they will go after them. This is the bully part of the narcissist coming out. And once they zero in on somebody, it would be rare for them to back off until they've reached the goal of completely destroying this person. I don't know if you've ever gotten into, let's say, a fight, and you knock this person down, and you know, you had clearly won the fight. I mean, it was, you devastated this person, okay? How do you feel afterwards? Did you really gain anything, or do you feel a little sick to your stomach? If you feel bad about what happened because, you know, maybe you felt you went overboard on it, you're normal human. Because when you beat somebody down, even though it may have been in self-defense, that doesn't mean you don't have some heart or empathy for this person that got the wrong end of the deal. Not the wrong end, but got the shit end when it came down to it. They got their butt beat, and it was you that did it. And when it was all over with, what did you really gain other than... Now, if it was completely in self-defense, you obviously were... I mean, you were justified in what you did. And now a narcissist, a weaponized one, would have stomped him into the ground. They would have been in the hospital. There'd be a lot of things happen. But the normal person is satisfied with making sure this person is not going to want to fight him again, but not necessarily hurt him to the point where they couldn't. So there is a difference, and I hope you know the difference, and that you don't have to be this person that would bust a person up to the point where they could never get up again. You don't want to do that. It would not be a good feeling. The same person, let's say that you try to, in your goodness of your heart, now I'm trying to put this nice, you decide to give him some constructive criticism. Ooh, touchy subjects. They call that a little bit like calling them out. That's not something that they're going to accept. In their world, there is no constructive criticism. The magic word is criticism. They already know more than what you do. What makes you think that you should have the audacity to tell this know-it-all narcissist what he should do or what he could do better? If it's not his idea, it does not exist. You have no right to tell this person. from his perspective. And you may have had it in your heart, a good heart, saying, I just want this person to do better. I like this person. Well, you just destroyed it because you gave him this criticism. If you want to be around a narcissist, and I don't know why you would, but you will never do something like that to him. Now, they're going to gaslight you. Before you're done, before you leave their presence, they are going to turn this back on you, and you're going to hang your head, and you're going to feel so bad as you walk away. Because he's going to tell you how wrong you were. How all along he's been such a good instructor for you. And you're breaking his heart that you couldn't understand that his way was the best way. The only way. Look at him. How did he get where he was at? He can't. You hold a lowly status. How could you even think about doing that? Do you know somebody like that? That he can make you feel like you're 2 inches tall? That you don't dare say something negative to him about him? That you have to agree when he's tearing somebody else up because he has no qualms whatsoever of talking about every single person around him about their little flaws. And he knows them. He knows all their flaws. That's how he keeps them close to him. Because he can control them. They have flaws and he doesn't. So be ready for it to be spun back on you. And he's good at it. Now, if you still can, you need to walk away from this person. Not only the situation you just went through, but walk away from the person. I was on a job one time, okay, and somebody was going to run this particular project while the boss was gone. And he was attacking everybody that he could attack on the job. Because he was now the big guy, the big person, and he was a narcissist. Now, he wasn't the top dog. He was the second one down, so when the boss was gone, he was it. And he was a jerk. And he came over and jumped on me that day. Hot day. Oh. And started berating me. And I looked at him, I waited till he was done, and I told him, I said, well, what you just got through saying, you're wrong. And he just exploded. Just exploded. So I picked my tools up and went down and walked over to my truck and put all my tools away. And he's back there just a-screaming and a-yelling. And I'm headed for the gate, you know, to get off the project. This goes back a lot of years, by the way. And then he started to apologize for some reason. And I'm thinking, why would he do that? What a jerk. Anyway, I didn't even turn around and acknowledge him. I just got in my truck and went home. The following week, his boss came back, wanted to know where I was at. Because I was one of the lead people out there for, especially with apprentices, pulling them together and teaching them what their job was. But I could do that and still keep the job up. So I had certain responsibilities by the end of the day that I had to have done. I explained to him what happened, and he said, well, that won't happen again. And I said, I know it won't. He said, won't you come back? I said, no. He said, is there anything we can do to bring you back? And I said, no. And he apologized and said, well, if you think different down the line, just give me a call. And I said, okay. You see, he knew what kind of a person that guy was. He was using the narcissist like an underdog or the good guy, bad guy type situation on a project, so that he could, if he wanted to get rid of somebody, he just send him over to the bad guy and let him run him off some way. And he had a good habit of doing that. It's a case where the narcissist was being used as the bad guy. Unfortunately, they turned him loose in the chicken coop, and he was eating the chickens alive, I guess. Okay, that was just an example. The other thing is, and part of this gaslighting, obviously, is they turn it back on you And they also have a habit of, they are the person that ends up getting attacked for some reason. Why would somebody want to do that? Why would it fall on them? Why would anybody even think about giving them such a bad time? The rain cloud is always over their head. Somebody's always attacking them. And they've got to fight back. They justify what they're doing because of what they did to him. I mean, these people, they attacked him. Well, now you got to go back and see, well, who attacked who? I mean, because you get to wondering, maybe you took it wrong. Did they spin it, or did you spin it? Who did this? And they're very good. You see, they spin it right back on you, and you have to go home thinking about it and say, how could I do that? Also, some of these people that have had to go under therapy for whatever reason, maybe their boss made them do it, or maybe the courts did, they will find a reason very quickly to attack that therapist, verbally, and later when they get out, they will attack it to all their peers that are around about that guy that didn't know anything. Didn't know him. Well, he's perfect. Why would he need a therapist? And what made any therapist think that they were smarter than this narcissist? And they won't give in. If you think that you got the best of one of them, you got another thing coming. Because when they decide to come back after you, guess what? They're going to do it and do it and do it and do it. They will never relent, although they might take a little rest while they have somebody else under their radar. You're on that list, and you are going to be under the scrutiny again. Could be minutes, hours, years, but you are there. You will be talked about. He will never forget about talking about you, but you will be there. Some of these people, they're just mean. They're called malignant narcissists. Their sole purpose is to destroy others. They're just going to do it. They zero in on the weak. They can't stand the flaws of those under them, and everybody that is not in their little world has a flaw. And if they're there very long, he finds that flaw, and they become fodder. They are going to go down the road, just like all the other victims. It takes longer for that close circle, but they're going. You don't believe me? Everybody has been around one of these narcissists. So just for the heck of it, shits and giggles, okay? Look around to see where their friends are. How far back do their friends actually go of the ones that you know about? Is it years or months? How many of them actually get past, let's say, 5 years? If you find the average, then you're going to see kind of about where you fit in. You can mark on your little calendar when you get to be a short timer on your way out. Okay? Short timer. That's a good word for that. You can almost figure it out because history foretells the future, especially with a narcissist. And you are part of the whole picture because you are one of his tools, like I told you earlier in here. Not good. They're the most dangerous. Some time ago there was a man that he made a wife that was pregnant disappear along with 2 children. He wanted to start all over again. And he wanted a new slate. This guy was a narcissist. And he would fall into malignant type. He would do whatever it takes to get to that end. It's probably one of the most dangerous ones you can run across. But you can see them if the one that you're around purposely picks on those weaker, destroys them. he fits in that category. He's very dangerous. My advice is get out quick. Get away before this guy has a chance to put you number one on his list. You do not want to be there. Absolutely do not. It is unsafe. What about Colbert? He's the guy that blames everybody for everything. No matter where you go, somebody else is to blame. Gee whiz, that coffee isn't very hot. Waitress, do you think you could find some hot coffee around here? Waitress, do you think that I could get some iced tea in all this ice? Not enough iced tea in there. It's all ice. Waitress, do you think I could get some meat in this sandwich? Do I have to go back in the kitchen and cook the food myself? Oh, yeah. He steps out of his car, and there's a mud puddle there. And he goes inside and says, who the heck to clean that parking lot out there? I just stepped in mud out there. You would think that somebody would have cleaned that up. He said, now my shoes are all muddy. You know, I'm going to tell you a little story about a friend of mine I went to school with. And he's a big guy. But he's not the type that anybody could be considered physically aggressive. He could have been. He's big enough, and he's a big guy. But he was highly, highly intelligent and somewhat aloof. And I was surprised. I mean, this goes back, I guess, maybe 15 years ago. Nah, not quite 15. A little better than 10 years ago, I guess. But he'd been sitting in a restaurant. And the place he goes to is pretty much a club for the ultra-rich. And he was there with his family and some close friends. And, you know, we're talking a dozen people sitting there. And he was busy talking to somebody, and the waiter, being a new one, had said, who do I hand the check to? And his wife said, just hand it to him over there. And she called him out by name. I'm not going to use his name. And he was mad. He said, get away from me. And the guy said, well, all I wanted to do is give you that the bill. He said, give me it. And he grabbed that bill out of his hand. And he grabbed that guy's hand and broke his finger. He literally broke the finger. Whew. Now, I believe the guy sued him, and it was pretty big news at the time because this guy had, and I had never heard any negative things about this guy, but I can understand that he may have had some of these traits that were in here because he was very aloof in school. Although him and I were friends, we weren't best friends. His sister was in my class, and her and I were good friends while we were in school. Matter of fact, pretty much from kindergarten all the way up. So through high school, as long as I went to high school. And I did quit before I was out of high school, by the way. I was a little surprised at it, but then again, you know, the traits were probably there in high school, but just not as dominant. He was so far above it. See, this particular club, his instructions were they were to send him bills. They were never to deliver it to his table. They were not to bother him with trivial things because he was too busy. That tells you that he was above it all, and he didn't want to deal with the staff that handled the food. Once they had made their decision of what to eat, everything should have been 1, 2, 3. We take care of it. When it's done, we go out the door. The bill will come to me. I always pay my bills. You will never send the waiter back to me to get paid. That will not happen. I do not want to see the check. I don't want it brought to the table. In that particular club there, like I say, it was very rich people that go there. It is a club, but it is a place to eat. The waiter, being new, apparently didn't know the rules, or he made a big mistake. Now, I don't know if he ever got paid. I'm assuming he got something. I guarantee you one thing. He didn't have a job after that day. Not there. So I hope he got a good paycheck. But that's all for that example. And that is a true example. I'm not going to give the names out because, like I say, we were friends at one time in high school. We didn't talk to each other after school, although his sister and I stayed friends until the day that she passed away. So, all right. Ooh. Yeah, and that blamers, that's called covert. They're covert. This covert type, along with blaming everybody else, they like to do something else. And I guess it's one of my biggest pet peeves. When people come on my channel, some of them try to put words in my mouth, words I never said, or they guess that I would say that. And most of the time they're wrong because I'm pretty upfront with how I feel, and I usually say what's on my mind. If I don't say it, it's best not to hit me with it too much. But if I'm guilty of something that I'm accused of on here, more than likely I'll let that comment stand and admit to, yeah, that I did that. But if somebody puts words in my mouth, it upsets me, mainly because whoever did this is trying to downgrade probably me or anybody associated with the subject that I may have been on. Like I say, if I'm reporting such as news or giving my opinion or whatever it is, that's all it is if I tell you that I got it from something, well, that's what I did. But if you come in there and say, well, it's something I said when I didn't say one word about that would probably get you, or at least that comment, removed because it wasn't worth answering. I mean, why would it be? I'm just telling you, these people that are covert put words in your mouth. And like all narcissists, the further you can stay away from them, the better off you are. And if you do have a channel and you find one of these people on your channel, the best thing to do is just to remove them from your channel, and whatever they said, it does no good, zero good, to argue with them because you cannot win the argument. That's it on the narcissists I've got so far. As far as dealing with them, the main thing is get away from them. Don't associate with them in the first place because you're just making a mistake. It's not worth it. I did spend a little bit of time on this thing trying to put it together. When you talk blind about a subject, you make a fool of yourself sometimes. But the particular things that I looked at Dr. Phil, and I also looked at that Stoic. They seem to correlate each other, so I'm assuming, I know I shouldn't use that word, but since they're so close in their analysis of these people, I figured it is probably safe to go ahead and give you a little bit on here. A lot of this is my opinion that I've put on here, but also things that I've taken that somebody else has already published, either on YouTube or in a book. If there's something on there that you think I left out or need to change or whatever, please leave a comment if you will. I'll try to get through as much as I can. Boy, this is a long one. This was 44, so by the time it hits 45 minutes, I've got to get out of here. This is way too long for not good to run that far. I probably should have split it up into 2 or 3 segments because it bores the heck out of people when you do that to them. I hope it wasn't too boring a subject. I hope you got something out of it. If you did enjoy it and you want me to hit another subject and study it a little bit and come back on here, I'll gladly do that. Hopefully I didn't have too many ahs and e's, because I stumble when I'm trying to get the next word out, and it's a bad habit I had years ago when I'd get up to do a speech and forget my cue cards. Sometimes I can do it from memory, but just like today, I wrote everything down ahead of time, short versions of what I wanted to talk about. And that happened to be 4 little pages on a small tablet. It's the little tablet, and it took 45 minutes. So with that, come on back for the next time I'm on here. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow or the next day or when. Sometimes I like to take the weekend off. But I'll talk to you later. Good day.